Welcome back to Midnight Oil! Pew pew pew! I'm joined with Tab
That's me.
and myself, and today, because it is spooky month, currently the 15th, right smack dab in the middle almost, we are doing spooky places, specifically haunted places in the US. Even more specifically, the top 3, maybe 4 if we get to it, but top 3 most haunted spooky places in the US of A. And I'm really excited to be educated because as much as I like horror stuff, in the pre-show we have established that I am basically a horror baby because I haven't seen jack shit. I haven't seen anything. I've seen like 2 horror movies, and then we found out that I technically have watched like 5 if you count the Saw movies and A Quiet Place and half of Bird Box. So that's the extent of horror for me. Oh, and Krampus and Split. That's it. That's about it. So this is definitely Tab's wheelhouse, but for me, this is all pretty much new information. None of this stuff is in my brain, nor did I know it existed.
I knew about some of it. Just a little bit.
Much more well versed in the horror scene than I am. So I'm excited. Did a little educating on Al Capone, and that was the only name that I saw through the 3/4 things that I researched. It was the only name I noticed that I knew anything about or seemed familiar to me. So it's all going to be new information. Hopefully, we can educate you a little bit on the way as well. But Tab, you wanna take it away? Give them the list.
Yeah, so the 3, maybe 4 places that we're doing is the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, the Emily Morgan Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, and maybe this 4th one, Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm super
Yes, it
excited.
is pronounced Louisville.
Not Louisville?
Fuck no.
Cool. So do we want to go down the list, or do we want to start at 3?
At 3. Whichever, really.
Let's do it. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, this is the one that I know the least about. The Emily Morgan Hotel. It's formerly known as the Medical Arts Building. It's a 13-story neo-Gothic hotel near the Alamo and part of the Alamo Plaza Historic District in San Antonio. And one of the really funny things that I just saw somewhere was that it underwent a multi-million-dollar renovation and then was bought by Doubletree, which, if you don't know hotels, that's a brand of Hilton. And I just thought that that was kind of funny.
That's insane. By the way, this hotel is beautiful. It's like
It's massive.
it's huge and it's like Gothic style. So any building that's like Gothic is just, to me, so beautiful. They don't make buildings like that anymore because you had to like hand make the like I don't even know what you call it, the sculpting. It's quite beautiful. I also believe that it had a morgue and a crematorium, which is strange. That's a strange thing to have in a hotel. If you've been to a hotel, they don't usually have a morgue there. All right. So
I think more hotels should.
but San Antonio is now a pretty bustling area. I think it's been bustling for a long while, but just the Gothic style of the hotel, to me, it would make it something I want to visit on its own. I think it's beautiful.
It is really cool. Apparently, the inside, the bottom 3 floors, and the top 3 floors were glazed with terracotta finish.
Hmm.
Just like Minecraft, for real.
Just like mine. Oh man. It says that the hotel follows a traditional superstition of a lot of other hotels and does not have a 13th floor. What many people don't know about the hotel is on the 14th floor. There isn't a room 1408. The number stops at 1407. By design, the next room is the Duke Suite. When you add the numbers 1408 together, you get the number 13.
Interesting.
Where did that come from?
The superstitious 13?
Yeah, let's see.
It's been a thing.
It says it dates back a long time, but from the 1890s, a number of English language sources relate the unlucky 13 to an idea that the Last Supper Judas, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, was the 13th to sit at the table.
Wow.
Interesting.
I didn't know that it would have been rooted like that.
I
But
didn't
like
know it was
pop off?
religious. It's
I didn't
also said,
either.
oh, it goes even deeper. In Norse mythology, Loki, the god of mischief, was the 13th guest at a dinner party in Valhalla. The number 12 is often considered a perfect number, so 13 is considered unusual. In the lunar cycles in ancient cultures, 13 represented femininity because it corresponded to the number of lunar cycles in a year. And in years with 13 full moons, the regular arrangement of church festivals were upset. So,
Hmm.
interesting. Also, fun fact, the fear of the number 13 is called triskaidekaphobia. Tri- trisa- triskaidekaphobia.
Yeah, you certainly tried to say that word.
All right, buddy.
Oh man. So, okay, back to the Emily Morgan Hotel. I found this really interesting fact about it. So the gargoyles that are crawling up the side of the hotel, they're all styled to depict various medical ailments. Some are faced with plague of a perpetual toothache, their mouths gaping wide to reveal lines of broken teeth, while others clutched their bellies in pain.
Mm,
Like, what? Their
that's
fucking brain
strange.
was huge when doing that. Like, that's hilarious to me.
What is it? Does it say anything else about the gargoyles?
Not super.
Interesting.
Other than, like, they were a part of the original medical arts building, which, funny enough, I thought the medical arts was just like, oh, medical art, yay. But no, so it explains why that there's a morgue in a hotel, because originally it was a medical facility. The downstairs levels functioned as the offices for the doctors, while the top floors were used as the best working hospital in the city. The
Whoa.
basement, which was the morgue.
Hmm.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. Do you know why gargoyles are on buildings?
I would assume it would have some sort of relation to kind of why scarecrows are in fields,
So,
maybe.
kinda. If you count water as being scared of them, it's
Oh.
actually to convey water from a roof away from the side of the building to prevent it from running down masonry wall and eroding the mortar.
Oh.
Just basically to get water away from the walls.
So gargoyles, why?
Mm,
Why did they choose the gargoyle shape to like do that?
There's also some evidence showing that they were to also ward off evil spirits and guarding the buildings that they occupy,
Oh.
protecting those inside, but was later not disproven but discredited due to very heinous things happening inside of buildings with gargoyles.
Hmm. Interesting.
But I want to know why we stopped. They're pretty fucking cool.
I swear.
So, just by looking at some of the reviews from the hotel, um, it's haunted. It's a lot of people have had insane experiences, but I'll just read. Should I just read like a most recent?
For sure.
Read a recent one. Oh, this one's about the parking situation.
It's always parking.
It actually seems like a lot of people don't know that it's haunted. Here we go. Brooke said, "This was on a bucket list stay for me. It's a historical hotel and deemed one of the most haunted. If I didn't know its history beforehand, I wouldn't have known the difference. It's pretty modern, and nothing about the aesthetic makes you think historical, in my opinion." There you go.
That must have been the multi-millionaire renovation that took place in 2012.
Wow. Why'd they renovate it? It was just getting run down.
I assume so. It doesn't really say why they did it. There was partial renovation in 1997. Then another big renovation in 2001 to 2002. And then in 2012 was the final one whenever Hilton took it over. I guess it's still a Hilton. If so, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of insane.
Shout out to all the Hilton Honors members listening. Get those discounts.
Also, Houston, Texas, 4 weeks ago gave it a 5 out of 5. So,
Hell yeah. That's sick.
the person Houston, Texas, apparently.
Wow.
So that's interesting. So
That's one hell of a name.
let's get down into the meat and potatoes. What actually happened there?
So, the reason why it's named the Emily Morgan Hotel is because it says infamous Emily Morgan. Basically, she was a free woman of color. She was mixed, early 19th century. She served as a servant for a few years, I think, under this dude named James Morgan. They got married. I think that's what maybe they didn't get married. Maybe they didn't even like each other. Maybe she was just simply a servant. I don't know how that works. I don't know. And then so that's really all of the backstory on her. It doesn't super seem like anything really and truly. I could just be scanning this a little too fast and not seeing anything about it. But that's ultimately why it's named after her. But the meat and potatoes of the hauntings that are there is because, well, there's just simply like various reports. Of course, it used to be a hospital. Hospitals back in the day weren't that good at doing medical things. So a lot of people died. There were floors that were dedicated to the psych ward, the surgery level, the waiting area, and, the basement as the morgue. And yeah, apparently there is like when you are there on those particular levels that I mentioned, you can feel something like cold brush up against you, and you can smell medicine somehow.
Oh,
And apparently, up on the 14th floor, the scent is more than just overwhelming, is what it says right here. I'm like, oh, oh, okay.
interesting. So For anyone researching with us, we look at a bunch of different, articles, websites. I always like looking at Wikipedia, even though we all know it's not the most credible place on the planet. But the Emily Morgan Hotel San Antonio page is literally 2 paragraphs long. So we
Yes.
we have had to locate information elsewhere. There's literally one paragraph about its history, and then the paragraph before is just talking about the hotel, and it actually states on the wiki article or the Wikipedia page that it's known for being one of the most haunted locations in San Antonio. Yet it doesn't talk about the hauntings, which I think is very strange.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's
So,
weird that I'm reading the 14th floor is actually the most haunted because theoretically the 14th floor is the 13th floor. It's just
that's
not
right.
called the 13th floor. So, interestingly enough, it brings back up the smell. It says it's acutely reminiscent of a hospital. The 14th floor was apparently the medical arts building's waiting area. And
Mm.
apparently, the floor has been impressed with the residual energy of one of the surgical levels, which that's interesting. And then it goes on to talk about how the guests of the hotel have reported to opening the doors to the hallways only to find a scene from a hospital waiting right inside. That sounds Grant, not here to knock anybody's experience, but that just sounds a little bit like hallucinations.
Yeah, that's insanity.
I would
Wow.
piss my pants if I opened a door to what I thought was a hotel hallway and then I saw a fucking hospital. Oh no. Piss my pants, pass out, probably have a heart attack and die. Then I would need to be in that hospital that I just saw.
So, I'm looking at the street view of the hotel,
Mhm.
and it actually plopped me inside of the hotel.
Oh, slay.
Like, I didn't get a street view. I got an inside view. Like, they don't want us to see the inside of the hotel. Oh, never mind. No, I mean, it's a beautiful building. It's pretty tall. They
Oh, they have
have
a
a
bar.
valet. Yeah, they have. I mean, they got it all.
They have a really nice gym, actually.
Oro restaurant and bar. I mean, it's beautiful.
I'm looking at like the actual just like website of the hotel, like as if I was going to book a room. It's nice. Like
Is it
y-
really?
they dumped that multi-million-dollar like renovation on this. Like that's really nice looking.
It's. I mean, it's so tall.
They
I
have
don't know.
hella event spaces. Damn.
It's a big building. Like, looking at it, it doesn't look huge. And then, like, at least on street view, it's gigantic. Like, big. This is a big building.
It's crazy.
And it's shaped like a V. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but
Hmm.
it's also nine. It's got 9 windows on the side, but parallel it has 10. So, like, inside of the V, there's 9 windows on the right side, but 10 windows on the left, which is strange.
Misshapen.
Yeah, good old
Hmm.
USA architecture.
Interesting. Apparently, the 12th floor is just as haunted as the 14th.
Maybe the ghost can't count.
The ghost can't what?
Count?
I'm lost.
What if they just want to find the 13th floor?
Hmm. Okay. This is interesting, and this is something that I can actually relate to. So, apparently, the elevators are known to have a mind of its own. They just go up and down without anybody on it, and they'll remain closed for hours. They lock people in it all the time. And apparently, there's a strange twist. The front desk workers at the hotel, they apparently receive unlisted phone calls from the elevators themselves when no one was even inside to make the call.
Huh.
That's weird because I've had that happen before. Really
That's
weird.
so so they get like one of the emergency button pushes or something?
I'd assume so, yeah.
That's so strange. Do you think that if you worked at a haunted hotel that you would fuck with people?
Oh, for sure. I
So
would call
maybe
their room and just fucking breathe on the phone and then hang up. And then whenever
Do-
they like called back down or came down to the front desk, I'd just be like, "No, like what are you I've been over here stocking up the market inventory. I haven't heard a phone call."
No, I wonder how much of it is actually like the history and the haunting, and how much of it is people playing a prank, and how much of it is like the staff like playing into it maybe. I
I
don't know.
totally feel like the staff would most definitely be fired. Like,
Really?
just to
You
be
think
so
so?
real. Especially if it's a Hilton hotel, absolutely. Hilton holds all of their employees to like such a high standard. Like, if you were fucking around like that, your manager would be like, yo, right up.
Wow. Even
Yeah,
if it's like a landmark and that's the reason that people probably come there.
yeah.
Interesting. I wonder like what man, sometimes I just wish I had a time machine and I could go back and just see. Like
And just see.
I just want to see.
Let me
I've
just take a
never
look.
I've never been one to like, not that I don't believe in ghosts. I've just never had an experience where I'm like I like, you know what I mean? Like I've just never experienced one. Not that again, not that I don't believe it, but I'm just like I don't I don't know. Like I
Yeah,
haven't had
like
that
you
experience
gotta.
like some people.
Yeah. For it to fully set into like a hardened belief, you have to like. Because there's still like that skepticism, because you're just like, ah, never happened to me. But like, cool for you. But like once it does happen to you, then that's when it hardens into like a, oh dude, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, so this is kind of off topic, but it's like I would call it like supernatural or something. When I was like 6 years old, I was on the trampoline in my yard, and I was with my buddy Devin, who lived up the street, and we were just talking and jumping around, as 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds do. And there's this like there's this girl like far far away across the street, like probably half a football field away, maybe more. And we're jumping and we're just talking. We're like, wouldn't it be weird if like she could hear us talking right now? Like just talking, like just being kids, whatever. And she looks over at us and says, "Do you want to say that again?" We looked at each other like a cartoon, and we were like, there's no way she heard us, right? And then while I said that, she was like, yes, I do hear you. I'm like, nah. And then she just walked away. I was like, what was that?
She had super hearing or something. Like what the
Yeah,
fuck?
that was crazy. I always think of, I would say I always think about it, but I think about it pretty frequently. Like,
That's insane.
Yeah, that's like one of those like unexplained things. And it's possible, as kids we were being louder than I recall or whatever, but we would have had to been really loud. Like it was a good distance away. So, that's like
Maybe the
my
wind. Was it windy? Do you
mm,
recall?
it was I don't recall the wind being too bad. No. There may have been
Fair.
like a small gust, but
Carried your
not
voice.
really. Yeah, I mean it had to have or something. I don't know, but that's my unexplained thing. I wish I could go back and like understand how that happened because that was crazy. Also, shout out to the tree that looked like a dinosaur by my old house.
That's clutch. Did you climb it?
No, no, I would have
Ah.
died. I would have been dead, very dead.
Nah, that's funny though.
It was a pretty tall tree, probably 10 stories tall.
Sick.
But no, but Emily Morgan, if you're listening, and we know that you are, give us a sign to head on over to the hotel, and I'd love to go. Honestly, I think
That'd be
that'd be
pretty
really
cool.
cool. I
Yeah.
wonder what they use the. Do you think people still stay on the 14th slash 12th slash whatever floor?
I mean, probably, yeah.
I
I'd
wanna.
assume.
I just want to smell it. I, I,
I
I wanna. I wanna be part of that.
want to go take a sniff
I want to go take a sniff. I want to see. Well, like, what does medicine even smell like? It depends on the medicine.
and see. When I think of medicine, I think of like cough syrup.
Yeah, that's what I think. Or those really plain white pills that smell like. How do I explain it? They just smell like hard rocks. I, do- I,
Hard rock.
I don't know.
No, that's
They
funny.
smell goofy. They smell goofy. Oh my god, we're
Slay.
30 minutes in.
Yeah, we need to move on to the axe murderer's house.
Let's do it.
Villisca. The Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa.
So it's a beautiful little house.
It
From the
is. It's
outside,
quaint.
it's got a little the I mean it looks like it's still from the early 1900s, to be honest.
I can tell you
It's
why.
why?
So after the murders happened, these two people's I don't know how immediately after, probably wasn't. But they swooped in, they got the house, I guess, and they remodeled it to make it look like the exact same on the night that the murders happened. So everything inside, everything outside looks the exact same, including the lack of power and water that
Hmm,
they didn't have on the night of the murders because it was probably forever ago. Yeah, in 1912. So,
that's insanity. So, you want to guess how much it is for one night for two people?
is it like $100?
Mm,
200?
higher,
500?
just under $500.
Okay.
But that's for the whole house. If you just want to stay in one room and only have one room for whatever reason, you're looking at $160.
I wonder if other people will be staying in like the other rooms. You know what I
That
mean?
would mess me up. That
Like,
I'd be tripping out.
is this like an Airbnb? Are we just renting out
Well, so it has
rooms?
options for 10 people to max to reserve the whole house. And then it also has availability to rent out specific rooms.
Maybe because it's cheaper?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess in the whole house. No, actually, no. They actually are renting it out like an Airbnb because so it's this one the Stillinger room it accommodates 3 people and you can rent that out for the same day as you can rent out the Mr. and Mrs. Moore room. and accommodates 3 people.
Yeah.
Same as the children's room. That accommodates 4 people. Kind of clutch. Can you imagine you're just staying in this haunted Airbnb?
Oh, it also says to be respectful and not to sleep in the beds and to use sleeping bags instead and not to touch the blinds or the mirror coverings.
I mean, that checks out, to be honest. If those
That's
were the
crazy.
original beds, then yeah, like some kids probably died there.
That's true.
I don't actually
Whoa.
know like what the details of this are though.
The
I
house
know that
has
it was
an
a murder.
AC and heat upstairs and downstairs, but is generally without power to create an authentic experience.
Okay. Slay.
But there are outlets in the barn.
Go fucking sleep in the barn.
Oh, no eating in the house.
Do you have to
They
eat in the barn too?
Yes, it says food and beverages should be consumed in the barn.
Nah, that's funny. Fair enough though. It is like a historical thing, and people were quite literally bludgeoned with an axe. There were 8 victims, including 6 children. Yeah, damn. And it's still unsolved, apparently, like the murder. It happened in June of 1912.
Do you think you'd be able to sleep there? Like peacefully?
Probably. Not peacefully, no. But I could. Actually, it depends on how. If I had a very eventful day, like say it's in the middle of summer, we just went swimming, we
Mm.
put some Doritos on our turkey sandwiches,
Mm.
and we went back to that house to go take a nap on the floor in a sleeping bag. Depending on how comfy and nice my sleeping bag felt and how cool the surroundings were, I absolutely think that I could just conk out, have a really good sleep.
Says that there are some people who have stayed at the house that have reported scratches and cuts on their arms and legs.
My
It
cats
also
do that to me on the daily, so I think I'd be fine.
it says not to bring a weapon for your own safety and for others.
Imagine it's one of those cases where, like, you stay in the house for such a long period of time and you start going insane and basically I don't know the exact word for it, but you take on the axe murderer like personality, and that's why they tell you not to bring a weapon because they think one day somebody might just snap.
Hmm. So, picture this. It's the early 1900s. The Moore's next door neighbor, Mary Peckham, went out to hang laundry around 5 a.m. Just as the sun was rising by 6 a.m., it struck her as odd the normally boisterous family wasn't awake, especially given the children were expected at school that Monday morning. By 7 a.m., she became increasingly concerned. Their horses were restless, and the other animals hadn't been fed. She knocked. Disturbed by the stillness, she attempted to look in the windows, but all of the curtains were closed. She tried both the front and the back doors, but both were locked. So she was concerned, and she called JB's brother's home and spoke to his wife. Was it possible that the family was just ill? So she called the store that Josiah's father worked at or owned, and he wasn't there either. At 8:15 in the morning, she got a hold of his brother Ross, who arrived to let himself in with a key, and they originally didn't see anything wrong. Then Ross went to the first floor bedroom and saw a sheet pulled over the bed where Stillinger laid. A hand fell lifeless below it. He could smell a dreadful blend of copper and blood. Ross immediately ran out and told Peckham to call the town's marshal to call everyone. One of Moore's workers, Ed Seeley, turned up to tend to his livestock and Ross told him not to bother because something terrible has happened here.
Man, what about the livestock though? They gotta eat.
That's crazy.
That's really cause okay, with the doors being locked, right? And no windows appeared to be broken. I'm assuming. Does that mean, the crime came from inside the house, or was it somebody that had access to the house? How
Yeah,
willy
I
nilly
mean,
were they with their spare keys back in the day? Who had the keys to go in and lock the door behind them when they were done? Unless, unless one of them just like snapped. Granted, they were all killed by an axe, right? But if one of them really just snapped, maybe they just laid where they were supposed to be laying in bed and just let the axe drop.
yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Inquest.
Apparently, um, the guy named Josiah, he received the most blows to the axe. His face had been cut to such an extent that his eyes were missing. So somebody had it out for him. Oh my gosh, the ceiling in his room also had a gouge mark from where the murderer lifted the axe to murder him.
Wow.
That's crazy. The only person that got the blade of the axe was Sarah. The others were killed with the blunt end of the axe. That's crazy.
Would you be surprised if there were 13 witnesses?
Wait, how do
Oh,
you all
14.
just like, how
14,
do
my
you
bad.
just witness all that and not say nothing?
They all testified.
It's
Peckham
crazy.
testified that the doors had been locked with a key and no key was in the lock on the inside of the door. Duh. I mean, that's crazy.
Somebody thought it was the fucking Reverend. That's crazy. He was accused of peeping.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Reverend.
It was the Reverend. No doubt about that. He was arrested anyway, because he was sexually harassing women who applied to be his secretary.
Oh, fantastic.
Glad they got him.
So, wow. It's just insanity. So, others adamantly insist that the crazed Reverend George Kelly was the culprit. In the third group of those who believe the Moores murders were the work of someone totally unrelated to the town, a possible traveler, hobo, or serial killer. This is by far from an exhaustive list. There was a hired gun, potentially William Blackie Mansfield, who was arrested in 1916. Demon inside a minister, Reverend George Jacqueline Kelly, who was tried in 1917. Convicted of a double murder was Henry
Whoa.
Lee Moore. Midwest serial killer theory was part of the pattern the city was.
Jesus.
S.A. Andy Sawyer detained by the sheriff, and Joe Ricks detained in Monmouth, Illinois.
None of these are in Iowa.
No.
So, looking off of Wikipedia, apparently there was also a similar massacre in Oregon a year prior. So, if any of these motherfuckers were in Oregon in what, 1911? That's the
Yeah,
motherfucker.
1911, 1912.
That's the motherfucker that did it.
He the one. Officer, I saw him.
Deductive reasoning. What words, Slay?
Yeah,
We
those are spooky, scary, insane stories. But we're moving on.
to number one. the Eastern State Penitentiary. So funny enough, this actually has like a Halloween haunted house that, of course, runs through Halloween, and it's one of those like, you know, costume and makeup, and you walk through and get scared, like boo you know. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of like attractions there now. They have
Yeah,
like all kinds of stuff. They have looks like a bar, a couple like just shops, I'll call them. What do you got?
about the shops in there,
Yeah.
or they have like back on the haunted house tip. Teehee. They have like 5 different attractions plus the tours. Apparently, they have live entertainment too. I wonder what that entails.
Tell
Is that
me,
like, do they have a band?
hold on. Tell me this person doesn't look like you a little bit.
Oh Lord, what are you looking at?
On the I DM'd it to you. The first person
The first
on
person
the
with
right.
a doing the jump.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
You don't think so?
It does. It does. I'll be real, but I'd like to believe it
I th-
doesn't.
I think it's the nose.
Not the nose. Not my big schnoz, bro.
No.
I'm fucking weak. I could never jump like that, so.
That looks so stiff. That looks like the stiffest jump ever. Anyways,
My legs wouldn't spread that far. Just saying.
do you walk like you're like you have like a 2x4 attached to each leg?
No.
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 That's what that jump reminds me of. Shout out to the guy in the picture. Or girl, I can't tell. Sorry.
What a sleigh.
Whoa!
Um,
Sorry, some of these are spooky.
fucking weak. So diving into the history of the Eastern State Penitentiary, it was originally named Cherry Hill State Prison, and it's sited on 10 acres of elevated farmland known as Cherry Hill. The construction commenced in 1822.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
1822.
1822.
Way back when.
Yeah, kind of old. I mean, granted, it held Al Capone for like, I think, all of 8 months.
That's
And
true.
then, if anybody knows the bank robber Willie Sutton, he was in there as well. So
For
that was kind
just
of ooh.
$59, we can get VIP access.
Ooh.
Where there's a speakeasy in Al Capone's cell. That's great. That is actually insane.
That's kind of funny though.
That's ridiculous. You can get a job there.
Yeah, doing what?
I guess being part of the haunt team.
Oh yeah, probably.
Or be Al
If
Capone.
if I lived in Philadelphia, I would work there, 100%. I feel like that'd be so cool.
That would be such an insane. Just like. It would just be an insane job.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine working in Al Capone's cell like 5 days a week.
Hey, welcome in. You want some beer? Straight from Al Capone's
You want
tap.
drugs?
That's fucking hilarious.
Group rates. Hold on. So you can go with a group. You're looking at. Here we go. Click to purchase tickets. $37 a ticket, it looks like.
Okay. That's not bad.
$59 for a group of VIPs. But yeah, you can go to Al Capone's speakeasy if you want. That's crazy.
Sure.
So we did a little research on penitentiaries, and the definition of penitentiary kind of contradicted what the logistics of going to a penitentiary are. So the definition of penitentiary is a place where people who've committed, hold on, let me just look it up word for word.
Word
It's
for word.
a prison for which people convicted of serious crimes. Serious crimes. But then you go to look up, why would you go to a penitentiary? And it's a hard word to spell. But it says you have to be convicted. It has to be for at least a year. And it's mostly for violent crimes, but also just drug possession. If you have drugs, you can end up in a penitentiary or any white collar crime.
That's
So,
crazy.
like tax evasion, insider trading, account fraud. Could you imagine being packed up with Al Capone because you did some tax evading?
That's funny.
Like, that's just
Or like
crazy.
the Villisca Axe murderer.
Yeah, you're
I
just
feel like I'd vibe if I did tax evasion. I'd vibe with Al Capone, right? But if I did tax evasion, I would not vibe with the Villisca Axe murderer. The fuck? Bro staring me down? Want to put an axe in my head? Hell no! I'm just here because I evaded some taxes. Chill.
Al Capone was also one of the first prisoners sent to Alcatraz and was
Now that's
considered one
kind of
of the
cool.
most dangerous inmates there.
Why isn't
So,
Alcatraz on this top 4 list? Now that I actually think about it,
yeah, I don't know. Is Alcatraz haunted?
I'd assume. I mean, really, any prison penitentiary from back then, of course, is probably some form of haunted.
It actually says it's one of the most haunted places not only in the US but worldwide.
So why is this not on my top 4 list? What the fuck? We'll just do a separate episode on Alcatraz
We
sometime.
have to do an Alcatraz episode. Alcatraz is crazy because so Al Capone, world-renowned drug cartel dealer man, was originally in the penitentiary. He was packed up. Then he went to Alcatraz, which is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. So, I mean, he's kind of been everywhere.
You see? What did I tell you? Al Capone has been in almost every state. I swear to God.
Let's see how many states has Al Capone been in.
All of them.
Let's see.
Half of them, at least.
So, organized crime in Chicago. He died in Palm Island, Miami Beach, Florida. He was born in Brooklyn, New York.
He was in the Pennsylvania penitentiary.
He was everywhere.
See? Al Capone
He
just gets around.
get this. He was originally put in the Eastern State Penitentiary. He was arrested for carrying a concealed deadly weapon. Not because of any of his other stuff. He just had a gun on him. Or
Damn.
wait, I don't know if it was a gun.
It was a
It just
deadly
says dead.
weapon.
Yeah, it just says deadly weapon.
It's probably a bazooka.
Dude
What a slay.
was packing a bazooka.
Can you
Bro,
imagine?
I will say, you've made it pretty high status when the FBI has an entire page on you. If you go to FBI.gov, there's an Al Capone page.
We'll have to do an episode on Al Capone.
Yeah, I mean Al Capone and the Alcatraz homies.
Swear.
But yeah, the penitentiary.
Yeah.
The pen what was the purpose of it ultimately?
So, yeah. Um, it was built, I think, just simply to kind of expand, but their main goal, once it was built and in working order, was to refine the revolutionary system of separate incarceration, which, if nobody knows what that means, it's quite literally just solitary confinement. And apparently, that, fun fact about solitary confinement, it was first pioneered at the Walnut Street Jail, which emphasizes principles of reform rather than punishment. Which, if you think about it, it doesn't make sense. Because if the Eastern State Penitentiary was trying to push those reform rather than punishment and refine solitary confinement, blah, 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 then why are there still reports saying that they treated their prisoners like shit? There was one that said there was extreme evidence captured of, which I have no idea what that evidence is at all, but they were brutally mistreated and often sprayed with freezing cold water just to be sent out into the middle of winter. And that's just like
They
one
just
of
like
the
kicked him out.
things. Yeah, like sprayed them down with freezing water and was like, all right, now go outside, play in the snow.
That's insane.
Fucked up. Oh, God. But yeah, it was built to house up to 250 inmates, but the numbers eventually swelled to over 1,700 inmates.
1,000, almost two.
1,700, yeah, almost two. And it was only built to house up to 250. That's insane. But, so back on the topic of the solitary confinement, they obviously didn't quite have it right because they made the solitary confinement with the prisoners having their own yards. So they could still, I guess, go outside and work out and all that good stuff, but they literally had no contact with any other inmates. And so a
Mm.
lot of people went insane,
Yeah.
and the idea was scrapped in 1913.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insanity, though.
Mm-hmm. That was wild.
Well, well, well. There you have it, folks. You got some spooky, scary, haunted places that are not the most haunted, like we thought.
Yeah, we were lied to. It's okay.
To be honest, I don't even know why the penitentiary's that haunted. Still,
Well, I
compared
mean,
to Alcatraz.
a lot of motherfuckers died, probably. And if they were being mistreated, then there's probably a lot of residual energy there trapped in the sense of, oh, there was a. It's the same way as like any hospital would be haunted. You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
distress and hurt and anguish that happened there. So, of course, it'd be how it'd be.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, though. I can't imagine sharing a cell with Al Capone or being in the same prison system as Al Capone. He was
No,
insane.
he
But
was a
yeah,
goat.
I mean, that's the list. That's the top 3 according to Tab's list.
According to this website that I saw.
But we'll have to do an Alcatraz episode and an Al Capone. And where'd the name Al come from? Honestly, Al.
Al Capone in Alcatraz.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe Alcatraz was made for Al Capone. We'll never know until we do research. So
Fair
I just
enough.
wanted to say the spooky scary episodes. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really digging it. I'm digging the the supernatural vibes, I think. And be on the lookout because we will be dropping a Halloween episode by the end of the
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Except it's going to be strange because we have 3 episodes before that, but we want to post it this month. So
It
we'll
could
figure
very
that out.
well be our first episode.
Yeah, we have no idea. Uh, for a timeline, this is our third full episode. So, and it is 10/15/24.
Yep.
So, so we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. But we wanted to get a Halloween episode out. Do an episode on what is Halloween, where did it come from, where'd she go, where'd she come from, Cotton Eye Joe, and just we want to know. We want to know. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
watching. Tab, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna plug our Instagram. Go follow us at Midnight Oil Entertainment. You can also find us on Patreon if you want to listen to our pre-game episodes, or you want to watch our video segments, or you want to just be our friend. Whatever, that's cool. We'll be your friend. Hey, but that's all. That's all I wanted to plug.
Yeah, and you can follow Tab at, is it Tab WTF
Yeah,
on
that's it.
Instagram?
That's it. Yeah.
And you can follow me at the Keeg with 3 underscores between the 2 words. And I'm gonna plug the Twitter. Go follow Midnight Oil Entertainment on Twitter. I would love to see the Twitter blow up. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Instagram would be nice, but Twitter would be funny. So
Well,
go
it's
check
called
out the
X
Twitter.
now.
X. Go, I will try and call it X, but no, but seriously, I'm really starting to enjoy these. Tab said they're enjoying the editing, which is
Yeah.
awesome. I'm enjoying the recording, and if you have a small business, by the way, I'll plug this because I think it'll benefit everyone. If you have a small business, that's either online or in the Eastern United States, hit us up at our business email, and we can get some sponsorships rolling in for you guys, because I would love to promote small businesses. Because we could do bigger businesses, and we probably will at some point, but let's help out the little guy. So sponsorship opportunities are going to be open. That's going to be midnightoilentertainment at gmail.com. Go, like Tab said, get on the Patreon, because we got some goodies there. And go listen to the other episodes, I guess. If you want to be part of the club, go listen to the other episodes, because you can
They're
tell
kind
that
of cool.
they're getting better. They're getting better. So, if anything, go listen to the first episode and compare it to this episode or the last episode, and you'll be in for a treat.
For
Also,
sure.
final thing, we are working on other projects. So, if you want to be up to date on them, I know I already plugged our socials, but we gonna be posting. All right. We are gonna be updating. We're gonna be posting, and you gotta check it out if you want to stay up to date on all things Midnight Oil. So I feel like that was a good episode.
Yeah, yeah. I like
I,
haunted things.
shout out ghosts.
We know you're listening.
Yeah, we know you're listening. So, ooh, and make sure you catch the Halloween episode. Ooh,
Ooh.
goodbye.
Good night.